Hi, I'm Draken, and this is the DrakenGameWerks, and this is something a little bit different from my normal Minecraft. This is Age of Wonders 4 that came out very recently. Awesome little turn-based strategy game, and quite a popular game as well in itself. I've played some of the other Paradox games like Stellaris, and I've played City Skylines, but I've never actually got into this side of their gaming structure. So recently, the landlord of my local decided to challenge us to actually have a multiplayer game. So I was like, yes, let's go for it. Now, we're going to get a few more people involved in a later game, but for a test game, we decided we'll have just the two of us playing. So I've come in here, and they've already released, even though the game came out at the end of May, they've already released the DLC for the dragon. So yes, of course, I had to have a red dragon lead my army in Age of Wonders. Now, I have very little idea what I'm doing in this game. I've played a couple of quick games against NPCs, so I have some idea of what I'm doing, setting it up here. Like you see, we're getting the Searing Blade enchantment so that our close combat troops have a little bit more of an edge in combat. I think we'll go for that one straight off the bat. But we're going to go through the first sort of 14 turns in this episode and see where we get to on this one. And yes, the first couple of turns, they're very quick turns. They're just basically getting in here, exploring a bit, looking around. Now, I really have no idea, actually, of the full intricacies of what's going on here. Like I said, I got some kind of an idea. So as I'm doing this series, if you are an experienced Age of Wonders player, I'd really appreciate some tips to being left in the comments below, or even if you've got questions and everything else, or ask why I do things in certain ways, or advice on how I can do things better. I'd appreciate this. Now, we're not going all out for war against the other person straight off the bat. We may end up fighting, we may not. There are several ways to win the game without actually having to completely annihilate the other side. Plus, there are two NPC AI players in this that we've got to be careful of. But as I said, in this first turn, literally it's just about exploration, getting the scout out there, just having a look around what we have here. And welcome to turn 2. I like the name we have for the city, Weirdgate. That wasn't one I came up with. The computer generated that for us automatically. And as yet, we still haven't encountered any NPCs. Only been one turn. Still building up a little bit around here. I mean, the city is still pretty small. Still exploring a bit with what we have. Now, my army that I've gone for, as I said, I've got a red dragon, but actually the rest of them are elves. I've decided I'm going to try and sort of make them like these fiery elves. So I took Pyromancy as my initial spell book. And I'm going to try and sort of build up some fiery spells to begin with. I'm not sure where they will eventually evolve to and how I'll do with the rest of the spells that I pick up in here. And of course, I forgot in the first turn, but there are things on the map that you can actually go and pick up as you're going around. So I suddenly realized, yeah, I better send my scouts around to go and collect all these little items that sort of float around your starting area, because they do give you a good little boost right at the beginning of the game. I thought it was about time that we took the dragon on the second turn towards actually taking someone on. I'm still a little hesitant because I haven't used the dragon yet, and we're still quite weak. We haven't built up much forces yet to be able to actually go and attack things. And we do have manual combat turned on for when we're later in the game, but we also have auto combat as well. I'm a little nervous about doing manual combat. I've never really got into that yet. On to day 3. Yeah, third day of actually being in here. And still, we're just getting very little progress at the moment. It takes forever to get the first bits built into things like your town. Like you can see that we've still got 3 turns left on building a vendor, and we've got 3 turns left on building an arcanist. And so there are important elements that we need to actually get in there. Hopefully that sort of speeds up at the moment. It just feels like it's dragging forever to try and get these things to come out for us. Having a second scout, though, early on in the game is very useful, I found. But at least when I was doing it against the NPCs before. So that we got a chance to actually go around and see, collect a few more things, and have a bit more eyes on what's going on outside of our actual city. But I thought it was time for a battle. But as I said, I'm nervous about doing manual combat, so I thought I'd go with auto combat still. We had superior forces, and I really need to get some more experience up on my dragon. So yes, it was sort of ideal just to go and take out some of these sort of random mobs that exist around the starting area. One thing I didn't realize while playing this before was that actually you can speed up by doing attract population the growth rate of your city, which enables us to actually expand our city a lot quicker by spending this Imperium points that we get in there. So then the next step is then to decide what is the best area to expand into. And it's about basically what resources you want to get back into the city, whether you want to speed up the building in the city, or whether you want to speed up population growth, or whether you want to speed up gold production that also comes off some of these around on the outskirts. So it's always quite ideal to go around and have a look and see what's available on all of them, and then try and make a choice of what's going to generate the most items for you to actually feed back into your city. Because some of these areas that we can collect when we're expanding our city, actually I found have generate more resources than others, depending on what's in there. And chance to actually add an item more. We've had our vendor turn up. That's producing a little bit more gold for our main city here. And at the moment, I'm just looking for things like the storehouse here. That's just going to take less turns to actually develop, but try and get resources in as quickly as possible. Welcome to turn 4, or day 4, as it is referred to in the game itself. And yeah, we got 2 scouts out. The city's starting to grow. That's a good thing, I think. I hope. But yeah, not encountered anyone as yet, which is good. And I'm just hoping we have a good few turns where we can just settle in before we end up having to deal too much with other NPCs, or even encounter our friend out there somewhere in the world. Yeah, I spoke too soon. The Outlanders, a bit like Atlanteans, the Outlanders. We have met our first people here. Well, yeah, these are like a free city. It's a neutral city. So I think what we might do is actually try and, yeah, we'll give them the Whispering Stone. And I'm going to go and try and see if we can make them an ally. And if we can make them an ally, we can try and actually sort of consume their city into our state as well. So if we get good enough on the diplomacy with them, they could actually become part of our nation. It takes a little while, but it's definitely worth it. And I've done it on a few of the games again when I've been playing as NPCs, so I think that might be a good start for us. Day 5 beckons for us, and it starts with this worrying sort of start to the day when I get this message on WhatsApp. We've been communicating backwards and forwards on WhatsApp as to when we complete our turns, and yeah, it will take several weeks to play this, because, you know, one of us will do a turn, then say done, and then the next person will do their turn, and we can maybe only do like a turn or 2 in a day sometimes when we're actually playing the game. But yeah, I had this message turn up on WhatsApp, and I'm like, is he already seeing what I'm doing? Has he managed to actually expand far enough and quick enough that he can, or has he got some sort of clairvoyancy spells? No, I'm my own worst enemy at times. This is what actually happened. Yeah, oops, never mind on that one. But at least we've expanded our city a little bit further. So trying to choose another item to put in there. And again, just looking for something that's going to be quick and fast to build, but that's actually going to benefit us overall. And I think this library is going to suit us quite nicely. And with another population attraction, we can grow our boundaries once more, which again, we just want to keep expanding outwards now, trying to get more and more resources pouring into our empire. Yep, and a nice quarry should bring us some extra resources flowing in. And also, we have finished the Searing Blades research, which means we get to research something else. And there's a couple of things on this list that I'm actually tempted with. I mean, there's the Magma Spirit, which is great because that means we can summon up more units without having to wait for them to be trained up in the cities. We can summon up some magical units. And then there's also that magical shield spell as well that would be quite useful for us in combat for actually defending our troops. In the end, I think it's the magical shield spell for now. I could probably pick up the Magma Spirits later on, I think. I think it's time for us to deal with this infestation over here, but it's just out of range of a dragon, so I'm going to probably have to move him over there and then tackle them. But these infestations, if you allow them to sit there, they just grow and become more and more problematic. So, yeah, I think maybe it's time to go and wake them up and go and deal with the infestation for a second. Okay, and it's on to turn 6, and yeah, we've met one of the NPC AIs. He doesn't seem to be too pleased to see us. He's not very impressed. And I'm like, I don't really want to be going to war with one of the NPC AIs straight off the bat. So the temptation is maybe we'll chuck him a little bit of gold just to keep him off our backs for a bit longer, maybe. I'm sure I want to threaten him, or maybe to start negotiating. I don't know. Not quite sure. At the end of the day, these NPCs I'm not really keen on, but at the same time, you know, I don't want to be fighting them straight off the bat either. But again, if you leave them unchecked, they will grow quite rapidly. And so I'm like thinking about, do I want to try and send them some resources and everything else? And then sort of thinking, I don't know. Actually, no, let's just leave him. Let's just leave him. Hopefully he should be all right. Maybe he's just out exploring. He's just hopefully one of his scouts. And I thought I'd quickly grab that before he did. Time to cast the actual Searing Blade spell that we finished researching. As I said, for our melee units, it does improve them. At the moment, we've only got one polearm unit, so it's not actually giving a massive boost. It's just that one polearm unit. But any close combat fighter units that we get coming up in the future that are trained up and everything else should have the Searing Blades enchant, which will just produce that extra bit more fire damage. I mean, it's technically it loses a bit of physical damage, but it's more fire damage. So overall, it's a slightly better effect than if we didn't have it. And of course, we have the development tree has been opened up as well to see how we can expand our abilities in the game here and adding on to what we're doing here. And this one I quite like. Casting a combat spell reduces the cost of other combat spells afterwards by 25%. We are going on a very much a magic arcane focus, so I'm thinking, yes, maybe we'll do that. And also, we get to deal with this infestation, which has grown a little bit since we were last in, but still a quick auto combat, and it's job done. And some rewards as well. We've got wand and some gold and a ring of flanking. So yeah, these rewards are going to be quite helpful for us. And yes, our dragon leveled up, and there's some new abilities for dragons that you don't get on other leaders. So it was a quick flick through. There are a number of skills further down the list that you can get, which you can also get on other leaders. But I was like, wow, we got a dragon. We got to use the dragon abilities, haven't we? Might as well. And I remember reading rumors somewhere that you couldn't put items on dragons. But actually, it turns out you can. It's just not armor, which makes sense. You can, don't have dragons wandering around wearing helmets and, chest plates and boots and stuff like that, which would be semi-amusing. But apparently they can wear rings and carry wands, so yeah, let's do that. We'll boost them up a little bit from that. And it's the 7th day, and there is a bit of a message here from the Outlanders. It's a guy who is basically caught for spying for him. We're trying to get them on the good side of us. So I'm not sure really what we'll do. That's a bit of a conundrum, because, he's spying on us from this free city, but we want the free city to be on our good side. So sort of like executing him and sending him to hang from the gate, probably not the best idea. I mean, this could be useful, actually. Maybe I'm using to feed favorable information, yeah. I mean, gold, yeah, I got really, yeah, no. I think if we want to try and keep ourselves on good terms, let's do that. Let's feed them some good information. Let's try and get them on side as quickly as possible, especially as we've started already seeing one of the AI nations turning up. Oh, yes, and this other AI is now also trying to win the favor of Outlanders. Well, that's not on. I'm not having that. This is my free city. I'm having this free city. No, I am not going to be having that at all. Right, we have to absolutely ensure that we keep on top of this diplomacy. We've got the Whispering Stone over there, and there's an option to boost allegiance. Yeah, let's do that. That just keeps ourselves ahead. You can see on the grid there that we are slightly ahead in our negotiations. We've got to get there before he does. And we get to expand our city one more space as well. Now, claiming one of these spaces out here isn't just about also trying to maximize your resources. It's about putting in strategical locations as well. And making sure that you're not just going and leaving yourself no space to expand or space for other cities to expand into. So it's really important to really carefully choose where you place. We got ourselves one of our mage units here to come and join in with our main army, just to increase the size of the army itself that's running around with the dragon itself, which would be useful. Of course, I did want to attack with him also this turn, and yeah, I kind of ran out of movement points by doing that. So maybe not the best move, but yeah, oh well, these are lessons that we're learning as we're going along. Oh, there's that enemy scout again. I wonder where he's wandering off to. Maybe we should follow him. See, I'm already referring to this opposing nation of the Acreon as the enemy. He's already competing for us for the attention of the Outlanders. And yeah, if there's any ways we can just boost ahead on this, I would love to be able to get ahead and basically beat him to the punch on this city. And it is the 8th day. Now, this is outside of my normal type of content, so I really hope that you're enjoying this. If you're here normally for my usual content, which is usually Minecraft related, either small content, SMP, advice series, or my stuff that I do on the Alpha blocks, don't worry, there is more of that to come. That's still my main stuff, but I thought I'd just play a few other games as well. I've always been wanting to put a few other games up on the channel here as well. So I thought I'd start with this one with the Age of Wonders, and we'll probably do a few others. The City Skylines 2 is coming out, and I also want to do some Star Citizen stuff as well eventually. But we're back in the game here. We've just finished producing a library. That'll make a friend of mine who is a librarian very, very happy. And we're just exploring around the map, and yes, look at that. We have an outpost over here that belongs to the Necromancer. Looking at the colours around it, yeah, that's a bit close. Not very happy about that. But in the meantime, let's take out this creature over here. I think we'll stick with auto combat for now, just because I'm still very nervous about doing manual combat. I know, I'm going to have to get used to this, especially if I end up in combat with the other player character in the game here as well. But yes, excellent. We have leveled up as well. So let's have probably another dragon item or dragon skill in here. I quite like the use of these. Oh, we've got breath weapons. This is cool. Which one do we want to go for? I mean, your classic dragon attack. It's gotta be the cone, hasn't it? I know. I like we got the line and the comet here, which is pretty cool in itself. But you know, when you think of a dragon's breath attack, it's that flaming breath that comes flying out from their mouth in that sort of cone shape. So I think we'll go for the cone one here. Though I quite like the idea of the other two as well. They could be quite useful as well. And I'm sure there's probably strategical advantages to using the different ones here. But I'm liking the fact that also the cone attack is a sort of area effect as well. So we'll use this one, and hopefully that'll become quite handy in combat later on. Though obviously at the moment we're still not doing manual combat, so we'll see. We've got to get on to doing manual combat at some point, and I'm gonna have to learn how to use the dragon in those fights as well. I think it's time to boost the population of our city here as well, expand it out a little bit further. Again, I'm just worried, like, if you build next to where other places are, it tends to upset them a little bit, and people try and claim the lands. That said, I don't want them to sort of box us in either. But this isn't particularly useful area, actually, looking at the materials that we're going to get out of it if we build into that area. But at the same time, I don't want to be boxed in. And yeah, as I was saying, yeah, if we try building there, if I try and build it here, I don't want to be boxed in. But yeah, it's going to upset the Outlanders, and we're trying to get them on our side, and we're only just slightly ahead in the reputation game with Acreon in trying to get Outlanders to be on our side. So yeah, listen, I've decided to go down instead, just to try and avoid that sort of land claim that they might have in that area. And we are on turn 9, and rivalries have been declared with Acreon. We're still at peace technically, but yeah, minus 395 relations. He's not too happy with us. But we have made it to the Pact of Cooperation here at the Outlanders, so that gives us another step closer towards vassalizing Outlanders, get them on our side. It is a bit of a war between us and Acreon as to whether we can actually get it. It's like a cold war of who's going to impress them the most. And yes, I'm going to spend Imperium on this. I mean, there are a lot of things you can spend Imperium on in the game, but I really think, yes, it's a good idea to try and improve our relations with them as much as possible. I think we'll just bring our dragon back slightly. I just want him to heal up a little bit. He's taken a bit of damage in the last couple of battles, and also just improve the army a little bit. One of the units we just built there, just add it up there. So he's up to the full 6, maximum stack. Obviously, we want to level up the units in there as well, so they're a bit tougher. But yeah, we'll keep building here as well. It feels like it's like every couple of turns we get to build something new in the city, which is good, which is where I want to keep it. And the question is really what I want to build next. And yeah, I think the town hall is just going to help us open up a few more bits and pieces. And I think some more Arcane Guard wouldn't go amiss here. And we finished our Magic Shield research as well. So let's see what we got next here. It's the Pyromancer. I think I'm going to have to get the Pyromancer. I mean, more mage-type units can't go wrong, especially as we're going for the fiery elves. I mean, I'm not really thinking tactically here. I'm thinking more just the narrative of the army, so to speak. But yes, definitely. Let's go for the Pyromancer on that one. And it is the 10th day, or turn 10. I mean, I always get confused which way around it. It comes up and says day 10, or the dawn of 10, or the 10th dawn, or whatever, when it starts. But it does say down in the bottom right there it's turn 10 as well. So I'll probably use it interchangeably as we go through the series, where we call it a turn or a day. But yes, we're still continuing to build on here. Just continue just to explore around, just make sure there's nothing I've missed on this island itself. And I've also noticed there's some underground passages near here, and I'm wondering if that's where his forces have come from. So I'm giving a little bit of consideration as to whether we go down into the underground passages and start taking a look around shortly. Just see if we can find out where his city is, because obviously that's an outpost there. And his main city's got to be somewhere nearby for him to have built an outpost so quickly, so close to us. But let's expand out our city again once more, I think. Yeah, I mean, we can't boost the allegiance anymore on that one, I don't think. So we already got ourselves expanded there. So I think if we're going to spend Imperium points, then probably the best bet is that we're going to spend it over on our main city here. We are ahead. We are racing ahead now of Acreon in terms of we need to get to the very top here, like almost like a finish line at the end here, the Pact of Vassalage, and we can stop him then from negotiating any further. That will upset him further, but I mean, he's already upset with us. He doesn't like us that much. I think we're going to end up with continuing deteriorating relations at this point in time, or at least at this point in time anyway. And welcome to turn 11, and we have met another one of the nations. And actually, this is my friend from down who I'm playing with online here. I've actually met his, what's he called himself? Goggles the Short-Sighted. He's playing the Mole People with a fantastic race name down in the corner there. I won't say it out on here. But yes, yeah, Goggles the Short-Sighted, one of the Mole People. That's worrying a little bit, because I don't know which way he's going to take it, whether he's just planning on building up for a little bit at the moment, or whether he's actually going to go into full-on warfare. I'm hoping he's having similar problems in some senses with the other AI sort of characters around. Not that we want, you know, for it to be nasty against the others. And I mean, yeah, he's offering a sort of a chance for a wizard bond, so that's hopeful and that's good, and that might help us out as well, because yeah, Acreon is being really aggressive. So I think we're going to take the wizard's bond here, the offer that he's made, and yeah, I think we'll progress from there, and hopefully we can at least keep things amicable for a while. Depending on how the AI player goes, we may end up having to be teaming up for a while to deal with those before we work out who's going to actually come and try and win this game. Merlin's Day. Okay, what we got here? We wish to I can't even say that. Commemorate. Thank you. The day of Merlin becoming a god here, and intended to make it an annual event. So they're talking about some ancient god here called Merlin, and what do we wish to do about it? Do we want to encourage it, or do we want to do something else here? I like this one. It actually declared that he was a fool. You ought to be worshipping me instead. You know, I'm the dragon. I'm the god here for our nation, not Merlin. But there's a few options here. You can increase the speed of research. We can turn around and get some gold from it, or we can get more Imperium. I like the idea of getting some more Imperium, actually. Gold's also tempting, but we got 292 at the moment. Imperium is one which is hard to come by, and we use it all the time. I didn't actually spend it last turn, actually. I was originally thinking about expanding my city, and I didn't last turn. I don't know if that was a mistake, or whether holding on to the Imperium was a good idea. But yeah, certainly getting a bit more Imperium is a good idea, I think. And we've reached the next stage as well in our negotiations with the Outlanders. And we are steaming ahead of Acreon and his necromantic nation that he has there of rat people. But we've got another opportunity to boost allegiance so we can get even closer ahead. And it's useful to do this even if we win this race, to keep boosting that, because it's just the quicker we can get to actually get them on our side. And yeah, I'm still concerned about the fact that he has this outpost up here. I love the name, Hex Point, that's great. And he's got some guards in there as well. If we do go to war, we might have to deal with that over there, because that's really on our... I mean, I consider this island my turf, really. I want this island to be all my turf. And that first starts by trying to get Outlanders on our side, and then we're going to have to do something about that outpost up there. And I think what we might have to do is we'll probably end up having to take it out eventually, but I don't want to do that just yet. I want to make sure we got enough forces to be able to do that, build up a little bit, have a little bit of research, that we're not just going to instantly have our backsides handed to us if we go into a fight. And we're on to turn 12. And yes, again, still upset with us. Our relations are decreasing, minus 475. He's trying to insult us and try and basically upset us, because we keep on... We're steaming ahead in our friendship with Outlanders, and it looks like our negotiations are going to lead to us being well ahead there. Right, okay. And just bringing over another unit. Actually, it wasn't... was it? No, yes, that's right. We got 6 in that unit, but we needed... I'm bringing up a second unit. It's a good idea to have multiple forces running around together, actually, in this sense. And then we've got another building to put in as well, to choose on here. Now, I'm thinking, especially with war brewing, that maybe some battlements might be a good idea for our capital city. Now, because of the traits we took at the beginning, the city is already fortified. It already has stone walls around our main city, but it might be an idea to maybe put some extra defenses in there. But then there's so many other useful things, and things that have been boosted as well. Let's have a look. And you got... And of course, there's the Wizard Tower. I need the Wizard Tower. It gives more Imperium income as well when we're using the Wizard Tower. Plus, we also get to have things like the crypts and the prison cells, so that when we're taking out the opponent's heroes, we can either capture them or put their remains in the crypt and use them for our own nefarious purposes, or sell the remains. That's also a possibility as well. And we've also opened up here because of we finished our research on Pyromancer, it seems, so we can get Pyromancers, but we can also get Suvers and Spell Shields, which is a level 2 unit as well. They're now available, but they take a little bit longer to train, but are also, of course, obviously a little bit tougher as well. So might be useful to get a few of those in the future. And as we just said, yeah, Pyromancer's been finished, so we need to get one more thing, research something new. And yeah, I think it's going to be the Magma Spirit. We're going to have to research that one. That's useful having summons, because you don't have to wait for like the recruitment time in the cities. You can just summon each turn and just keep bolstering up your units, as long as you can keep paying the upkeep. That's quite useful on that side. And yes, we have brought one of our scouts here down underneath and have a look around. And look, is that his throne city already? No wonder he built the outpost so close on the surface there. He's literally just beneath in the cavern. That puts him really close to me and makes things really, really awkward as well. He's going to become a real nuisance, I can imagine, being down here. But... and yeah, these underground caverns, I mean, it's connected over down towards there. There's Anvil, which is the capital for Goggles the Short-Sighted. So the other player in this game. And Acreon's troops are all moving, and they're all coming up. And I'm a bit worried about that. Okay, I'm about to vassalize our city here. It is turn 13, unlucky for some, but for us, lucky because we get to vassalize Outlanders. And we get to also move a few more troops around here. Hopefully nothing too bad happens on this turn. For those of you who have tridecaphobia, that is the fear of the number 13. Actually, auspicious number, lucky for some people. Some people consider it quite a good omen, the number 13. It's only in recent times that it's become considered an unlucky number. And I thought I'd bring our other scout down here into the other caverns here. It seems like these aren't connected, these two caverns. So I wonder where this one goes. Bring us up to turn 14, and we have been greeted by King Alfred Elderstone. That's the 4th sort of player character race in here. That's an NPC one. doesn't seem too happy with us either. Human, is it? But our negotiation succeeded with the vassalage. It is now belongs to us. We can boost the allegiance again because we want to integrate this city into our nation eventually. So it's part of us and we can start using its resources. And we've also acquired a couple of things here that are useful. We've got the silver tongue. Is it silver tongue? Fruit that we have available to us there, and those focus stones as well. These give sort of benefits to the nation once you've actually obtained them. And our wizard tower has already been built, which is amazing. Now we got some choices. We can either build some stuff for the city, or we can build part of the wizard tower up. We can build crypts, we can build prison cells into there. Which, yeah, I think I'll build prison cells, because eventually, sooner or later, we're going to be involved in fights with some of the heroes, some of the enemy heroes, and so we want to do something with them when we end up in those fights. Just moving these guys up here because I'm worried about having to protect my border. I'm worried that he might go to war soon with us. But with this building war, that brings us to the end of this episode. Turns 1 to 14. I thought I'd cover 14 turns in the first episode. I plan to do more of this. Don't worry, there will be more on Author Blocks. Hopefully you have enjoyed this series as we begin to delve into our nation being led by our red dragon deep into there. But do hopefully come back and check out more of this. There will be more of this series. I don't think it's going to be a massively long running series if we're doing like 14 turns in an episode. It may end up with less turns in an episode later on as things get more involved. But yeah, definitely for the first 14 turns, we wanted to sort of blast through what we've got here, and we'll keep you posted and up to date on that as well. And don't forget, we got more Minecraft content coming as well. So we'll see you here soon on the DrakenGameWerks. Take care all.